We live. We live. Just give me one second.
We live, baby.
Welcome to another episode of Soul Filling, where you get your soul fed. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Kobe.
And today we are talking about expectations versus reality. And you guys, we are going to be talking about relationships and dating. Okay, are y'all ready to sip some tea? Are you ready to get into your feelings? Are you ready to get a little controversy? And are you ready to get your soul fed? Okay, guys, let's get into it. But before that, you know what we about to do. We about to talk about what fed our soul this week. Okay, Kobe and Jazz, you got something for us?
I got something. It came right at the nick of time. Like I was thinking, what am I about to talk about for what fed my soul this week? So what fed my soul this week? So I've been taking this week to really get, since our last podcast, y'all inspired me to get my life back together as far as my church life and my spiritual life. So I went back to church for the first time since over a year, and it was so magical, might I say, because I was thinking I was gonna go the previous week, but the previous week was Easter Sunday, and I just didn't want to be under the cliche, I'm gonna show up on Easter Sunday. Like some just wouldn't let me go. I was like, I'm gonna go, but then I was like, it's Easter Sunday, you know the saying, people only go to church on Easter Sundays, and what is it, Christmas? I don't know. So I was like, even if you do, that's still good. But I just was like, I really don't want it, because what I didn't want myself to do was to just go for Easter Sunday and then go back to not going next week and the week after that. And, you know, it just be like one of those little one-time things. I was like, I'm really ready to get back into my church in life. And so I went. It was really good. They, had a social distance. But as I was there, this is where my gym came from. The message just was everything that I needed to hear. And the reason why I say that is because he was talking about the importance of swinging your sword. And what the way I took that as, and even he actually said this. And so what do you mean when he says swing your sword in life? A lot of times we're passive and we want to play defense, right? We always path of least resistance. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. If something not going our way, I'm just gonna pray about it. It's gonna work itself out. But we got to get on the offense mind and go out there and get it. And also, AKA make that stuff happen. Like, we can't just be like from the sideline, it's going to work itself out. No, we got to roll up our sleeves. If something's not going our way, we might have to get in the mud, get in the dirt, get dirty, and really go out and put that action and to change it around. And I was talking to Jarvis, because he gave this analogy of there was this boxing match of these two heavyweight boxers, and one of his plans was to he was gonna play defense because the boxing match was supposed to be 12 rounds, and so his plan was like, okay, I'm just gonna keep bobbing and weaving, I'm gonna tire my opponent out, and by the 12th round, I'm be fresh, I'm gonna have all this energy, and I'm gonna knock him out. But the thing with that was he didn't even make it to the 12th round. He got dropped in like round number 3 or 4. And so that's what be happening sometimes. We be playing on the defensive end, like, okay, I'm gonna just wait to make that perfect entry instead of just going, because play offense. And that's what he was saying. Like, when we play offense, God is going to have our back and be able to make sure that exceedingly abundantly, make sure we win the fight. We ain't got to play defense for 12 rounds. Go ahead and play offense 3 rounds. And guess what? You might get a knockout. You might score what you wanted. So, it just made me think in life, we got to get out that mindset of it's going to work itself out. It's going to take care of it. I'm just going to pray about it. We got to put that action. We got, like Tiff said, we got to be about that action. And so that's my gym for the week. And with that, I've been taking action. I know I've been on bed rest because of my car accident, but I've been taking action in so many other ways. And I'm just like, I needed this to recenter, but then even it's like I ain't never been I've been productive, but it's been boring in the house too. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm like, still, I gotta be proactive in some ways than none versus just sitting here and laying in bed rest. But I've been laying down. I've been complying. But yeah, that was my gem of the week.
I love that. Yes. Joel's thing came with the heat. I literally remember everything that was said. I'm glad you said it again because I need to be reminded of that. For me, this week has been just girls. Oh, if y'all knew, Lord, this last half of the week has just been so crazy. But God is good. And so I won't go into the details. But basically, I wanted to talk about the power of prayer and just the power of God. And so I know I know that God lives within us, right? And I know there's a podcast an episode of Soul Filling that we talk about, the power that God has given us, like the power to speak things to existence, the power to manifest things by visualizing all these things that he talks about in the Bible that we can use to create our life and outcomes and things of that nature. But I also want to talk about with doing those things, with speaking those things, sometimes our thoughts could get the best of us. And so though we're saying this will happen, all these good things, and we're trying to think positive and we're praying and we're praising, sometimes in the back of our head, there's still those negative thoughts. But I want to tell you, that is the time where you give it all to God. That is the time where you say, your thoughts are not my thoughts and your ways are not my ways. And I'm human and I'm doing the best I can. I'm using everything that you've given me, all the tools. But at the end of the day, I need you to take this and I need you to do what you do with it, because me in my human form, I'm doing everything I can. I know that you live within me, but I need you to take this. I need you to take everything I've been asking for, and I need you to do what you do. Because right now, like, sometimes your thoughts can get the best of you, you try to put all the positivity into you. But what I'm saying is, when you just can't do anymore, you just have to give it to God and see what he does, and it works. And so that's all I have to say. It's just, through what we went through this weekend and this week, all I have to say is, like, when you're at the end of your rope, those negative thoughts keep coming. Continue to be positive, but I'm
sorry. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. I know it's been a week, but God, He is an overcomer.
Yeah. Ooh. The power of God, the power of the blood of Jesus, you have to lean on that because miracles do happen. So that's what I want to say. I'm happy, but I'm just very overwhelmed because God is so good.
Yes. Ooh. God is. Ooh, and I just think no, it makes a lot of sense, because if we're being honest, it's just be those times where our own human, and it's funny, I was talking to Deb on the phone last night and we was talking about this, just like we believe, so much. Well, we say we believe so much, like we believe we can get this and we believe we gonna do that. But we was talking about how it's funny because we've been knowing each other since like middle school, right? And so we was like, remember back in the day when we was in high school and we would say we was gonna do something, and all the adults would come and tell us, "Girl, how you gonna do that? You ain't gonna be able to do this," or just trying to throw all the logical explanations as to why this can't be done or why that's a little impossible, or you biting off more than you can chew. And we would be like, yeah, I don't care what you're talking about. I just know this is about to happen and it's going to be this and it's going to be amazing. And somehow it always ended up happening. And so we were just talking about, I know we're getting wiser and we're getting older, but the more older we get and the more we experience life and the more wisdom we gain, is sometimes we feel like our wisdom is greater than God's greatness and God's abundance. And so we just really have to be more childlike and have that childlike faith and imagination, and know that there's nothing too big for God, and God can still do exceedingly abundantly in our lives. And he just continues to show up and show out. And I just think it's just so beautiful. And I'm so ever thankful just for all the increase that God is just pouring in Kobe's life, Tiff's life, my loved ones' lives, our families' lives. It's just a beautiful thing. It's just a beautiful thing. And we have to tap into the greatness, the abundance to receive it, because we have to draw closer to God so he can draw closer to us. We got to take that first step.
And I think it's also interesting too, because it goes along with the topic that we have today, expectation versus reality. Like, the reality is we might feel hopeless. We might not see a way out within our circumstance, but the expectation is that God is going to pull us through, that he is going to make a way out of no way. He is going to see us through. So it's like, I get that feeling of feeling hopeless, but feeling helpless, but also feeling hopeless. I mean, hopeful, helpless, but hopeful. Like, that's the reality, but the expectation is always greatness, greater.
Yes, I totally agree. That hopefulness, that when we talked about this in the episode a long time ago, when we were talking about all the way when we were at my brother's studio, and it was just like being able to see that little glimmer of light in that darkness, that that you could get to the light. And so, no, it's so true. And I just think God is really good, and we are powerful, guys. Prayer is powerful. It works. Coming together, like, I've just seen it firsthand. It's, y'all, I can't wait to tell y'all the testimony. That's all I gotta say. We're gonna be shouting. Okay.
Hey,
so, yeah, I totally agree.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I can't wait to hear it. I know it's gonna be powerful.
Yes. So let's get into this, expectations versus reality, now that we have cried.
Wait, before we get into this, y'all know the drill. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, share this right now. In the beginning, it's something free that you can do to help us go up in the numbers, go up in the rankings, and get the word out and get the good message out. Thank you. We love you. Okay.
Yes. So let's talk about expectations versus reality. We didn't know what we were going to talk about today, but luckily the Jasmine and the Kobe's men came through and was throwing out some topics, and they brought up a topic about who should be the head of the household when you're in a relationship. And so let's talk about the expectations versus the reality, and what we do with all of that. So ladies, can y'all I feel like y'all could break it down more, what they meant by that, because I know there was some type of something that y'all was watching or something like that was talking about.
I'll let Jazz break it down, but then I'll explain my thoughts on that.
Okay. So it was this TikTok video going around. Well, I don't even know if it was going around, but yeah, basically this TikTok video, and there was a lady on there, and she was an older lady, and she was just talking to the new school generation. And she was like, I don't know what is going on with the new school ladies out here that, don't want to submit to their man and don't believe in submitting, or don't believe that, that's a thing. And she was saying, I don't know, when did it become okay for the ladies to feel like they're the head of the household, to degrade their man, to call them bees, to say they ain't shit and ain't gonna never be shit, just to really, really put them down. And when did building them up and being by their side become a thing of the past? And she was saying, so basically we should all, basically the thing was, the man is the household. Ladies, we should be okay supporting them, aka submitting to them, the word that ladies don't like to hear. And we should be not degrading them, because she was saying the world already does that. Why, when they come home, they're getting even for the 10th degree from their women as well. And so Jarvis was like, how do we feel about this, babe? And I was like, I think she brings up some really, really good points. And me, honestly speaking, I'm gonna let Kobe explain her side, and then we'll come back together, and I'll tell y'all how I feel about it.
First off, I'm laughing because it is like, we do uplift our men, and we, especially us, like I'm talking about like us, we speak positive about our men, but in the heat of the moment, you do something stupid. Yeah, I'm gonna break it down and keep it real with you. You stupid ass, you dumb ass. Like, no, what the hell was you thinking? But that doesn't mean, the expectation is that, we're supposed to be perfect all this time. But the reality is not. Like, relationships are not perfect. It's not gonna be one way all the time, But my thoughts are that yes, the men are the head of the household. The man is the head of the household, but the woman, in reality, the woman is controlling all that thing. Like, yes, you going out getting the money, bringing it home, but we are the ones that are saying, okay, this should go here. This part of the money should go to this. That money should go over here. We're the ones that are designing the home, making the house a home. Turning that meal, that food, the groceries into a meal, right? That's my thing. Is that yes, you are the front, you are controlling, you are the head, but we are the neck. We are in control of this. Okay.
I agree.
But my question is also, like, you brought up the reference of they may be getting the money, but we tell them where to put it. But what if we are the ones who are the breadwinners and making the money and maybe making more than them? Does the dynamic change from that? I mean, I have my own thoughts, but what do y'all think?
The dynamic wouldn't change. I feel like you would still be the head and I'm still the neck.
Real. I think everything in life, everyone has a certain role. And a man can never be a man, a woman can never be a woman. I mean, a man can never be a man. A man can never be a woman, and a woman can never be a man. And with that being said, I just feel like there's certain, there's a masculine energy and there's a feminine energy. And I just, honestly, me personally, I feel like that there's a certain masculinity that the head of the household is just, and you even see it with children. And like, we're raising Jarvis's daughter, and even his nephew that's here as well. And you see it. It's like when the man says something, I don't know what it is, but it's just like everything just ceases. Like that act right, you fall in suit when daddy say something. But when mama say something, you say it 2 or 3 times, and then it's just like, wait, you gonna try it. But daddy is just like, let me tell you, daddy. Okay. It's like, oh no. Even you can just say, let me tell daddy. And then it's just, I'm getting act right. And then it was even another guy, he was talking about, my mom, she did an amazing job, but my dad, he was the one, and this was a boy, of course, he was saying my dad was the one that just lit the fire in me. And I don't know what it was about my dad, but it was just that connection. And I definitely think it's true when it's a father-son dynamic as well. It's just something that's undeniable about the father role. And so I do think even if the woman makes more money, she's still not the head of the household. And it's like, okay, so then the woman has to ask herself, is like, okay, the woman, are you truly comfortable with making more money than your man? Or is this something that's maybe temporary? Is he striving to make more money than you in the future? Or is this something where he's okay with being and he doesn't have a desire to make more than this? And if he doesn't, are you going to genuinely be okay and be able to still respect him and still, put him on that true pedestal of being the head of the household? That's my views on that.
That's such a good point, because you have to be okay. You have to really truly ask yourself, are you going to be okay with a man making less than you and still being able to respect them? And I just know, like, some women don't. I mean, they just don't. And I think one of the things is just, if you're in a relationship, you should talk about what boundaries you do have. Just real quick, going to the name calling and stuff like that, what they were saying in the comments, if he's a B, then I'm gonna call him a B. I really don't personally, in any relationship that I'm gonna go in the future, I want it to be said that there's no name calling. There's no B, there's no ain't shit, there's no I don't know why we keep saying B but say shit. But there's no name calling because that just it hurts. But everybody else, some people might be able to take that, some people don't. But I think that we should really think about what that does to a person. Like we were saying, we really are big on speaking life into people, into speaking things into existence. So though you may be mad at the moment, though you may be whatever, we're going to have to learn how to communicate in a way that doesn't belittle someone, that is clear, so that you guys are able to move on the problem. Because what's going to happen when you're saying all this and saying all that, you're not fixing the problem, you're making a whole nother problem. As opposed to like just communicating. And I'm sure that's easier said than done, because I haven't been in a relationship in a while, so I don't really know how I would feel once I'm there and I'm having these conversations. But I do know that I don't want to ever belittle, especially a Black man, and I don't want him to belittle me. But as far as being, Kobe.
No, I was gonna say that makes me think of something too. Because at the end of the day, like what you're saying is true, and to me, really, when I sit back and think about it, the head of the household is not even really about the power or abuse or about power, but it's about a responsibility, right? And as the head of the household, as the man, you have a responsibility to, like you said, making sure that you're not abusing somebody or verbally abusing them. And as a woman, we have that same responsibility. You have a responsibility to take care of your family, making sure that you are presenting yourself and our family in the best possible way. So that's really at the core. When I think of the head of household, that's really what it is. It's about that responsibility.
Yeah.
You have a responsibility to take care of yourself and me and our family.
And I think there's so many different ways to take care of your person. And I totally agree. Whether you make more than your man, like money shouldn't have anything to do with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's just like, there's so many different ways to be taken care of. And so when I think about being a head of the household, that means like, I don't have to think as much. I might be doing my career. I might be doing all these boss moves, but when I'm home, I want to be taken care of. I don't want to have to make all the big decisions. I also want for the man to ask for me, for my opinion on things, someone who values me. And so I think all of that, but in order for a woman to be submissive, and I know we heard this a lot, you have to be able to lead her. If not, I feel like that dynamic is gonna be wobbly, and I really feel like you have to find someone else to lead you. Not saying that man can't lead someone else, but if you can't respect the man or depend on him to lead you, that might not be the person you need to be with. Because essentially respect and for me, adoration kind of comes hand in hand. If I adore you as a person, if I respect you as a person, that means I'm willing to let you lead me. And so
yeah, I agree. And when I get a little confused though when you say lead. So can you break it down? Because when I'm thinking, well, let me tell you what I'm thinking. I feel like in the household is me personally. I think it's always like this mutual understanding. If like, for instance, we say the children's bedtime is 8:00, then as the head of the household, we came to this mutual understanding. And so I'll say it and either you say it and we're just coming back behind one another and we're reinforcing it. And it's like if we're both on the same accord, and if the head of the household is the one that's on the same accord, of course, which I think that's important, you have to be on the same accord, then that's going to allow that thing to actually get done in the household. Or if it's finances, if I can't be the one that's the only one saving and you over here splurging and spending frivolously. Like if it's a balance between understanding on both of us that this is what we're going to be doing and you're adhering to it. And if I'm slacking, you making sure I'm picking up the slack, or if I see you slacking, you understand like, oh, this is the value, the core value that we have set. So then I can acknowledge like, yeah, I'm falling off my stuff. So now I need to get back on it. So when you say lead, what exactly are you meaning? Because I just get a little confused.
It is confusing. I would just say someone that I can call for advice. I really like that's something that I kind of think about when in a relationship. Like, do I call you for advice? If I'm calling you for advice, or if I'm asking you for advice, that means that's that I respect what you have to say. I really value your opinion, and that means I can like, you're essentially leading me. You know what I'm saying?
You trust that person and to take you in a direction that they feel like you should go, or whatever information they're giving you, you trust them on that.
Right. So if they're making a decision in the household, of course, we're confiding in me as well. If I trust what they're saying, okay, then we're gonna move here, or okay, we could make this deal, or we could make that deal. Like, I'm trusting in whatever you possess, like whatever you're possessing. But if I don't trust, if I can't get advice from you, if I don't go to you for like small things on what I should do, that is a sign that I don't really trust you to lead me. Because I call, for big decisions in my life, or even the small decisions in my life. And so I think that's the best way I could personally explain it. At the end of the day, that's how I kind of feel. It's like leader.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get that.
Real quick. So my thing is, if we're going back to the expectation versus reality, so we say women, and I agree with that. We want that type of relationship, right? That's the expectation. But in reality, we have people, and I've seen this done with women and men, that's the expectation going around. But we've talked about it in our text messages. I think we were talking about the bank account and the hiding money and having secret accounts, right? But the expectation is that we all in, we both in, and we putting in everything and we sharing everything. But the reality is we got secrecy going on. And I just use the finances as an example. Another example, you're saying that the head of the household is making a decision and you trust him, and the plan is this. All right, well, I think you should do this, but then you secretly going off and you're not following the plan, basically going back to what Jazz was saying. So maybe he set up a workout plan for you. You're supposed to be following this workout plan, but you're not even sticking to it. You're not doing it.
Yeah.
So how do we get that expectation? How do we live up to the expectation?
I think it's really up to, like, I will probably follow it, but just because you're human, sometimes you like just make mistakes, like I'm not working out, or or something like that. But I feel like most of the things that I can only think of like my brother, because I go to him for a lot of advice. And so I'm really taking that for food for thought. Not saying that I follow exactly everything that he says ultimately, but if like I'm in an actual relationship and it has a decision that is based on me and my partner, then I would have to follow it, but it would have to be some back and forth. Probably, knowing myself, I have a lot of opinions,
That's and that's my point, is like, how does that opinionated, that headstrong woman, really follow the expectation of I'm going to follow my man, when I have a totally different plan and idea of where I think we should go, but he's saying we should go here and move here and do this, but I think that we should, go here and do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it depends on that. That means I really feel like you have to have a man that y'all have to have the same core values. So
when you're dating, that should be something in dating that you should be trying to pick out and figure out, like, okay, am I going to be able to follow this man, or am I going to be constantly headbutting and trying to go my way and he trying to go his way?
That's right. If you can't follow them, if y'all have two different core values, then I don't think you could work on it. But when you're doing that, you're ultimately trying to change a man or a woman. If you have to constantly change someone, is that are you just dating a potential person that might change? But you want to actually love and follow a person that is who they are. If they don't change, if they do change, to be able to love that person. So if you can't follow them, me personally, I just don't think like at the end of the day, that's probably someone you should be with, because you'll be pushed to belittle them on act, even if you don't not trying to.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, y'all have to have similar core values, and that could even be that person. Like, okay, I'm open. Maybe they're not, and this could be the man or the woman. It is not subject to what gender here. So if the woman is like, I'm open to wherever you're trying to take me, or if the man is like, this is my set ways, but I'm open to hearing you out and coming to a common ground that fits us and fits the life that we're trying to build. Maybe, I thought I wanted to live in, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of something absurd, in Canada, but now that you brought it up, this probably would be better if for our future children, if we expose them to, our upbringings and where we can. So I'm willing to make that compromise. And so when we say lead, I just really feel like it's a partnership. It's a couple. So you have to have a coupling decision-making process. And it comes with, you're leading me, but you're leading. And this is the go back to what Kobe was saying, expectation versus reality is like, the expectation is to lead, but the reality is we're really just talking it out, and then we're coming to a conclusion that works best for the both of us.
Yeah, and I think it's really a correlation to trust, because like when I'm dating, I'm really, what I'm really trying to see is, what is your vision for your life? So I could see like, do I fit into that, or does that vision fit into what I think? But sometimes, like, if I can't see it, but like you were saying, Jazz, like with the being open, the only way I can be open is if I know what your vision is.
Exactly.
So that's one of the things I need to see when I'm dating. Like, well, what is your vision for life? What do you want to do? So I can know whether I want to be in that with you or not. Maybe it doesn't really align, like totally align with what I want to do. But if I'm open to it and I love you and I trust what you have, then okay, maybe we could live on a farm instead of in the city, because I trust the vision. Sure. So, and that's just like, so I do agree with you. I don't think leadership is I think that really coincides with like trust. Can I trust you to really be a leader in my life? Like,
no, I agree. I think that's right. That is the thing. You have to be able to trust that they're going to take into account your vision, your goals, their vision, their plan, and that they're going to include that, and that everybody's going to be happy with that.
Exactly.
And that goes back to what I was saying about the responsibility. You have a responsibility to take into account what it is that you want, but also take into account what it is that I want, what I need, what the family need, what's best for everybody, basically.
That part. And I think that's it, guys. Women, we have this screwed mentality when it comes to leadership, and we think it's dictatorship, because there are some relationships that are being ran like that. I'm the man, whatever I say go, and and it's like, no, everybody knows a true leader, there's the saying, a true leader creates more leaders. So you want you and your wife to be leading that shit together. You don't want to just be out here, having a dictatorship, like, it's just, because then where's the true happiness in that? It's like, is your wife's love tank even full if that's the way you running the ship? And so, like, if you think about all the great leaders, you think about the Martin Luther Kings, you think about the who's some great leaders, y'all, some, the Obama is like, their goal, I'm trying to think, what's somebody that's not Black? I can't think of nobody other than, but anyways, y'all know, just some good leaders all over the world. Like, they're trying to create other people that are are sufficient. They're trying to make sure they're happy. They're trying to make sure they're well taken care of. It's not how can me be filled. It's like, like you said, Kobe, they're thinking about the whole. How's the family going to move and function and operate at the best of its possible, the best ability that it possibly can. So it's like, let's not get so afraid of leadership. Like, we're not trying to go out here and marry Hitlers. We like those type of leaders. We're not trying to marry them. We're trying to find leaders that have us in their best interest as well.
Yeah, and I think that is part of, okay, right. So if someone is going to lead you, they have to be a good leader. And the leader is not a dictatorship, like you're saying. A leader is someone who listens, someone who asks for like your opinion. Like if you're a leader on a team, you're not going to just make decisions. You're going to ask the marketing department, the sales team, what are your thoughts? What are your expertise? So we could come up with a decision that works for all of us, and that's the right decision to move us forward in our company, which is i.e. our marriage or relationship. So yes, like leader, it sounds like I make the money, these are my rules, blah 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 blah. No, like a leader is someone who has a listening ear, someone who, for me, who prays over you, and there's just so many ways, okay? But we have a comment here on YouTube, and it's by Brianna's in her lane. Hey girl, hey. She says, I've recently started living with my boyfriend months ago, and it's been such an adjustment. I love it here. And then she goes on to say, I'm learning that once you switch into a mindset of courting and planning to be together forever, mutual understanding on core values is important. Transparency, trust, and submission are keys. So also, I just feel like men come out the woodworks on this one. They want to feel like they are the leader as well. It has something to do with their ego. They want to lead you. They want to take care of you. They want all of that. So if we're not able to give them that, that's a huge part missing from the relationship.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's like, girl, Brianna, you hit it best, like nail on the head, like bam, because it's like, if us as women, we can't even check our ego enough to give them a little big head, make them feel like you the man. It was this one, I don't know if I read this, watched this somewhere. It was this saying like, women, there's some women out there, and I used to be this woman that like the man would be trying to tell you something, and let's say you already knew the correct answer. You hurry up and try to beat him and tell him, oh yeah, I already know that. It's like, ladies, just pretend like you don't know the right answer. Let him tell you, and you just look all interested and just start boosting his head like, wow, I didn't, tell me more. And it will just make him feel so much better versus you beating him to the end goal, hurry up and vomiting it out your mouth before he can even say the whole point. It's like, damn, how much will it make your relationship grow versus you just being quiet and listening and letting him tell you about mindsets or whatever it is in the world that you probably didn't already heard and seen and watched and researched, versus you just trying to beat him, and now he's getting closed off and feeling like he can't talk to you, like she'll know it all, it don't matter what I say. And I'm just like, damn. That was me at one point in time. So it's like, just pretend like you don't know. Like, that's the submission piece, ladies. And that's one of our superpowers that we can hold. It's so much power in submitting. And I think about a basketball team. Like, everybody loved Jordan. Everybody loved Kobe. But if there was a team of 5 Kobe Bryants, they would lose every single time. If it was 5 Jordans on the court at the same time, they would lose because no one would understand their role. The reason why the teams are so powerful is because everyone had a role, and they knew and respected Kobe's role. They knew and they respected Jordan's role, and Jordan respected their roles. And so that's that give and take. You can't have a marriage and you got 2 Jordans, 2 Kobes. Somebody got to take the back seat. And most times women, that's us. And so, and that's okay. It's like, think about the game of chess. Even if you're not a chess player, let me just put you on some game real quick. The object of the game of chess is to protect the king. And I'm like, this is just like life. And so every piece, you got all these pieces on the board, and the goal is just to make sure that king is protected. Now I'm just thinking about there's a rook, the rook can go this way. There's a knight, he can only go in an L shape. And then there's the other pieces that can only go in certain directions. But the queen, peep this, y'all. The queen, she is the most powerful piece on the board. She can go left, right, up, down, zigzag, sideways, all kind of ways on the board. And the king, he can only go a little measly up, back, side. But the object, she's using her power to make sure he's still protected. I'm thinking that's that submission. Like, use your goddess power to make sure your man feels good, to make sure you're like, we gotta bite our tongue sometimes. We might want to tell him he ain't shit, this stuff, but it's like we speaking that into existence. It's like we created more of that. And like you said, Kobe, every time in every situation, like if you really, really just cross the line, you might have to let them know, but there's a way and elegance and grace. And sometimes it ain't gonna be graceful and elegant. We ain't gotta go as far as name calling and calling them B and calling them, things like that. But you may have to that's not to say you won't have to tell your significant other where that his shit don't stink or when he is really truly messing up, but there's a way you can say it and there's a how you say it so that the message can be conveyed. And that's our superpower, I think, as women, to be able to have that hot and cold touch. But yeah, that I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, that's
and Brianna, girl, you hit.
Yes, that's so good, Jazz, because I think I do struggle with that. Someone tried to tell me something, I'm like, I already know that, we have over 200 episodes on Soul Feeling Podcast. We ain't talked about it all. But honestly, like we say, someone can say it over and over again, but it's really based in their perspective that might change it all for you. Like your mom could tell you clean your room 150 times. Find a man down the street tell you clean your room, you clean your room the next day. So it's just like really into the perspective of who that person is. So I'll listen more as well. I'm gonna take that little nugget from you. All right. I think we all, that was good. I think that was a lot to unpack. Okay.
Yeah.
Then another thing Kyle was talking about was, well, we're not 30 yet.
Mm-hmm. But just the dynamic of like being hunted and who's doing the hunting and who's being hunted.
Yeah, so break that down. Tell what your man said, Kobe.
So basically, he was just saying that men in their 20s, they're doing the hunting, but then it shifts when they're in their 30s. Men in their 30s are now being hunted because women are now at that age where they feel like there's an internal clock running. They're they've hit their career goals. They need to start now like having kids, raising a family, and doing those things. So now they're out doing the hunting. So we just wanted to see what is the expectation and the reality there with, hunting and who's been hunting and who's hunted.
Yeah. And he was also saying like in your 30s, like men, they have like their careers more. So they have like money, guys who don't have any children, they're good looking. They also, so they're like that's somebody who women are going to seek out for. So they're like, basically he said the P word is being thrown at them like crazy. And so a lot of times it's hard for them to just pick one person, really looking at the details and stuff like that. So when I was listening to Kyle, being the single woman on this podcast, I was like, wait a minute, hold on. Because I have such a different perspective, like that recently just changed this year on that. And I could definitely see where there's definitely truth in that about when a woman sees someone like that, who they just like, oh, I have to get this person because I want to have a family and I want to have babies and stuff like that. But what really has changed my mind about that is just that personally, I love for a man to court me, and I'm not interested if you aren't, because I've been with, like y'all know, I've been with people who I chased them and it never works. I really do believe that the man kind of does have to love you a bit more or really adore you more than you want them. Maybe that's not true for everybody, but that's what I think for me. It makes me fall in love more when someone loves me so much. But also with that is seeing Shameless Maya. So she is 39. She just got married and she's pregnant. Shan Booty, she met her husband like 4 years ago. I think she's 34, 35, just got pregnant. My grandma had my mom when she was 42. So I get people talking about like the biological clock and stuff like that. But for me, it's more important to be with the person that is right for you instead of being divorced at 22 or 23, which is nothing wrong with that because y'all know Shameless Maya, she was married and in divorce. But I rather pick the person or they pick me and we be together forever. And whether we have kids later in life or not, it's really just, that's just how it is, you know?
You said it so
Thank
well.
you.
Like that's the expectation. The expectation is that we have to have this family. We have to have everything all figured out by 30, you know, or, you know, whatever this certain age. But the reality is that things are going to happen when they're supposed to happen. And that, you know, what you said, that if it's something that you really want, that you really desire, that it's never too late to get that. Like you don't feel like, you shouldn't feel like you're rushing against the clock. Like whenever it's gonna happen, it will happen for you, and you will get that. You will receive that.
Exactly, y'all. It's, to me, it's about that lack mindset and that abundance mindset. And if you out here living like ain't no good man, I'm never gonna find a man, or like my clock running up, then you're gonna manifest the thing that you don't want. Remember the famous saying that I always say, I just said it was famous. It's gonna be a famous saying that I always say, that worrying is a form of prayer. It's like the prayer, it's like you praying for the thing you don't want. So and I know it's difficult, y'all. And I'm not gonna sit up here and say like it's so easy to not worry. I don't never have a worry. I ain't got no worries. No, I'm not saying that. Like, and especially I was talking to Deb last night when we was talking about how social media can really cause us to really be worrying. She got a friend, and they just got married. Her husband bought her a Porsche, and we like, dang, we know all these things that's at our fingertips. We just see on our social media, and it's like people we actually know. And so it's like we start to compare, or your friend just did this, or your friend just had a baby, and your friend just bought their first house, and your friend got married. It's just like, so the fuck what? Like for real, like, and just these inspirational stories like Shan and Shameless Maya, and yo, I never knew that about your grandmother. Like your mom, having your mom at 42, it's like biological clock, where like, and it's just like we truly have to, because it's like if we're constantly worrying about these things, we're repelling and pushing away further the thing that we truly do want. So let's focus more on like finding, like you were saying, to that person that's truly for you, truly meant for you, and literally focus on it, because we get where we focus on, we get where our attention goes. And so we have to put focus. If that's what we want, we can't just, and I think we're gonna cover this. I'm gonna save it. I think Kobe actually had a saying on it, the way you put the expectation, like we how did you say it, Kobe? Do you know what I'm talking about? So how it's like we say we want a relationship, but then we're not focused on it.
You say you want a relationship, but you're not even putting yourself, you're not dating, you're not putting yourself out there and doing the things that you want to do to get whatever it is that you expect.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, we really, as women, we have to put our focus on, not saying obsess about it to the point where we're chasing men, but we have to have that in our mindset. It's like if you were in college and you focused on graduating, the chances of you graduating increases, because you're like, I'm here, I know I'm coming to finish. Like, so same thing with your relationship. It's okay. You don't have to have guilt in thinking like I shouldn't be thinking about a relationship or a man or this, that, and the third. Like, put that energy out there so that energy can come back to you. We can't like push it down and suppress it like it's something that's not important. And meanwhile, we know that we truly want that thing. So that's all I'm saying. Like, put some energy toward it, manifest that thing, write your list down, and don't expect your list to be 100% perfect, but you know, settle for about 95, 80, 90, between that range. But yeah, I definitely
think about something too, talking about like that list. There is some type of expectation for men and women where we have this list. And from what, Kyle was saying, it was like on the man's side, these men are not going to settle down until, they found a woman that hits everything on their list, right? And then there is this expectation with women, or I don't know, there's this reality. I'll say this, there's this reality sometimes that women, we have this list and that we have to settle for one thing being missed, or that we do settle, with the man not having something. Like, does that make sense? Like that expectation?
Talk about it. No, I think because women, we smart. And because God don't make perfect people, y'all. Like, it's just like that's why there's a God. If people were perfect, then there would be no point of having God. Like, and a lot of times, guys, they be not settling for something on their list that could literally be probably changed with a conversation. Not changed, but it could be like worked on together. Like, if you true, but they like, you don't want to already come pre-made and pre-packaged.
She's not fun. She don't like to get dressed up and go out. Like, that's just a simple conversation. A conversation. And one thing, women, we have to understand that in a relationship is give take. So there will be some things you have to do in a relationship that maybe you wasn't comfortable with, and maybe it's not necessarily who you are at first, but like because I think God has a funny way of doing life. It's like y'all are two different personalities, two different people. Of course, y'all are gonna have two different things that you like and dislike. So you are gonna have to have an open mind to try new things, and same with the guy. He's gonna have to try. If you a homebody and your ass don't like to go on adventures, you're gonna have to try some new things. You're gonna have to try it. And I think it's that give take. We really have to understand, and like we were just saying, a conversation can fix a lot of these things. Okay, it can really fix a lot of these things. But
I would say make sure you have that conversation, because you could use that as an excuse to, people use those things to like cheat. Like, oh, she don't like to go out anyways. Well, you didn't tell me that. Like, so don't use that as an excuse to do something detrimental to your relationship. Just talk about it. And if y'all can't move forward, y'all can't. But most of the time, you probably can. Also, you brought up before the podcast, Kobe, about, you were watching Ready to Love, and like there was two women who basically haven't been in a serious relationship for 17 years.
Yeah, like 15 plus years. Yeah.
So that really made me think of like, and I mean, I haven't been in a relationship, like in a committed relationship, in a very long time either. And so that made me really think about why is that, and what is like, maybe there's a root to the problem. Like, what is it based out of? Like, is there a base of that? Like, I know one thing I fear of is like being with the wrong person. Mm-hmm. And then also I was listening to the Friend Zone. She was talking about how she didn't want to get married or have kids. And she has a partner now that really is big on like family and marriage. And she realized that the reason why she didn't want to have be married or have kids is because she never seen someone, like she didn't grow up in a really loving family environment. And so, but he did. And so, but she realized like the reason why she didn't want that is because it was trauma based. And so I want to access, are some of the things we don't want to happen based in trauma or based in actually what we really want? Do you really not believe in marriage, or do you just seen too many bad marriages, or you grew up when there wasn't love in the household? That's why you don't want to have children, because you wasn't treated well as a child. And so just really pulling back that layer and to see, is this something that you really don't want or do want, or is this based in trauma? And if it is based in trauma, really be able to heal from that.
That's good. That's really good. And then the disclaimer is, I do also want to say that these women who hadn't had serious relationship and, 15 plus years. Like they did date, don't get me wrong. They were going on dates. They were, having fun, doing things, but they just hadn't had a serious monogamous, relationship in that, amount of time.
Yeah. Whew, that makes sense. All right. What's our next one?
Yeah, I mean, so there's the expectation. I was telling the girls that with my new job, like, it is a great environment. Like they really do promote us as employees being our authentic self and expressing, who we are. We have like unity circles where we talk about, just real world problems and how we feel about those issues and what can the company do to help us with those things. Like they're constantly, pushing that authenticity and what we want and how they can be better. How can the company be better? And I was telling the girls how I was struggling. Like there's this expectation that you want to work for a company that wants you to be yourself. But then the reality is I still struggle with that. And even with the podcast, like I am a version of like my authentic self at work and on the podcast. And I think it's because like with the podcast, this is something that's recorded. It's something that's going to be here forever. So it's like, I want to, like I said, I'm still myself. I still put these thoughts and ideas out there, but it's the way that I say it that might change. Like if I'm in my living room having a conversation with my girls or my boyfriend, I might be saying things in a different way than I am on this podcast. And it's the same at work. I might be presenting myself in a way that's different, and other people are able to do it just so comfortably and so easily. And I'm just like, yes, I see you, boo. Like, and I love it, but it's still something within me that is like trying to get used to that with my coworkers and with the kids as well. So yeah, there's this expectation of wanting to be authentic, but then it's like the reality is still as a Black woman, like Jazz was saying, as a Black woman, it's still that, can I really be myself? Y'all gonna really judge me.
Right. Y'all know what y'all asking for?
Yeah, I think it goes back to like there's an episode we did when we first started called like Being Authentically You, like our second or third episode. And we just have to practice being who we are. We have to practice being ourselves. Like it's so crazy that we have to practice being us.
Wow.
Exactly. We have to code switch so much that now I can't present in a way that's not like fun. Like I just want my time with my students to be fun. Like I want it to be fun for me and fun for them, but I'm still in this corporate mode like a robot.
And also think about, they deserve that version of you. They deserve that higher version of you because your most authentic self is that higher version of you. So think about the impact you bringing you is going to have on the kids and on your job. Also, another thing that has helped me in my job personally is just thinking about life in general. I said this on the podcast, like not sweating the small stuff because life is just so precious. Life with our family members is so precious that something that your coworker says or something that your coworker thinks that they're probably not thinking of at all of you anyways, don't spend that energy thinking, should I be this? Should I do that? Should I do that? To spend that time, of course, we want to be professional, but be authentically yourself. Because at the end of the day, worrying about all this stuff and what people have to say about you is taking away from this experience in life that could be so much more fulfilling when you're able to focus on the things that really matters, which is helping these kids be healthier and living a healthy life, and then bringing that joy to that part of their day. So I had to stop stressing myself about like, even personally, like, what if my manager going to think of this? What if my manager going to think of that? Because I want them to like me so much. I want everybody to like me so much. But at the end of the day, who cares? They probably do like you, and just they'll probably like you more when you be your whole self.
Real.
But if they don't, who cares? Because I like me, and I like you.
Yeah.
And
But it's like at the same time, we like our job. So we don't be one.
Exactly.
But but you're right. That's real though
That's
too.
coming in.
And
Yeah,
I think it's because
detrimental, but
yeah. But I think it's because we've been taught so much that from a young age to code switch. Even hear our parents like, bring the phone ring. Hello, how you doing today, ma'am? Like their voice just completely switch up that phone voice. And it's just like, we've been taught, like, when you go in a professional environment, conduct yourself in a profession, like professionalism is everything. And so it's like trying to unlearn and relearn that. I think that's what it is. That's that barrier that we're having to wrestle and tussle with, because now it's more companies that realize, like, I probably get way more out of my employees if I'm getting the authentic them versus this shell. And so it's like, but we've been taught shell. There's the two hats you wear. And so it's like just trying to make those adjustments, trying to make them. But I think you're going to get it. You're going to get it. There's no doubt in my mind you're going to find it. We're going to find it. And yeah, your personality is amazing. So I just want them to be able, like Tips to say, to experience you, because you're so dope, Kobe. So bless them kids.
Yes,
Bless them
we
kids.
are slowly getting there. Like from my first presentation to like now I'm on my 20th or whatever. Like it's definitely gotten easier. But I just thought it was really interesting when we were talking about expectation versus reality. Like, dang, I really wanted this and I got it, and I can't even, really enjoy it fully.
You can. We're not gonna speak to it.
Yeah.
No, I used to struggle with that same exact thing when I first became a teacher. So like I think it's just that first, it took a whole year. I was it was a semester. So I was going by the book, and then what really helped me is, like you said, when I went and shadowed another teacher's classroom, and I was like, y'all doing all this? You saying all that? And this is what really, really stuck. The facts tell and stories sell. And so like, I just started trying to put a story in like your personal life stories, like maybe something that just happened over the weekend or something that happened in your childhood or something, like, because then I remember I was teaching them about homeostasis, and I was telling them how Dominique had a pet boa constrictor snake, and he would scare me, and I was never going in his room when he had that in his dad's house. And then at the class, we was reviewing the next day, and I was like, okay, what is homeostasis? It's like, oh yeah, when your cousin had that snake. I was like, oh, okay, so y'all remember the stories. Okay, like that's true. Snakes do conduct homeostasis on heat and rock. Yes, you got it. but like they really put those connections with stories.
Yes, and that's definitely the transition that's happening. We have a set curriculum, and it's, to put it a little bit more context, it is created by white women. And you can tell that it's created by white women because of the pictures, the wording, like everything. So now that was something that I had to go in and do. I figured out, like, the presentation, I'm not connecting with this presentation. Therefore, the students are not going to be able to connect with this presentation. So, it had to be some changes there, where I'm like, okay, I got to change some of these pictures out. It can't be these stock photos. It need to be like some, photos that can really connect with these students. So yeah, that was part of it, just making the presentation more me.
I love that. So you were able to change the presentation and use your own.
Yes, and we can save, and we have an Outlook system that we work with, and so I'm able to save it to my personal one and then adjust it and update it that way.
That's such a valuable contribution for those kids to be able to see themselves in those pictures and stuff like that. And that's a huge value that you're bringing to the company. That's amazing.
Yes.
So, all right.
Alrighty, guys.
Oh no, that's all I had.
Okay. All right, y'all. So what time is it? It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. So if this is your first time tuning in on the Soul Filling Podcast, we always end our podcast with a positive affirmation. So what the heck is an affirmation, y'all? An affirmation is any statement that you are using to transform your life. Either you transform your life for the good or you transform your life for the demise. even in the Bible, it states, let the weak say, keyword, y'all, you got to say this out loud. It says, let the weak say, I am strong. So on those days when you're feeling sick and tired, down and out, broke, like your expectation is not matching your reality, don't affirm that over your life. Instead, speak uplifting, positive, powerful things over your life, and just watch how God begins to transform your life. No, you might not believe the affirmation the first 2 times or 100 times you say it, but keep on saying it and watch how it just gets embedded in your soul. There are 3 of us, and I'm affirming that there are millions, billions, trillions, generations to come out here tuned into the Soul Filling Podcast. And we're going to go ahead and end this thing off with our positive affirmations. So who wants to go first?
I am bringing my authentic self to every room, every space, and every relationship.
I have abundant expectations.
I am covered by the blood of Jesus. Me and my family and friends.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you are listening to us right now on whatever platform you're listening on, be sure to subscribe. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on SoundCloud. We're on YouTube. But if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts in particular, make sure you give us a 5-star rating and write something soulful and sweet. Also, we're on all social media platforms, SOULFILLING podcast everywhere. So if you're feeling this podcast, make sure you share with your audience or just DM us. Tell us how you feel, because we love seeing your comments and messages. It just fills our soul. We love you so much. We'll talk to you next week.
Until next time, soulmates. Thank you. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Let me end this.